New six string. Wanted to do a video. Haven't done one in a while. I apologize for that. I was on a kick of like, oh, I'll do a bass podcast every Saturday. Then Saturday came and life happened, and that just didn't work. So what I can do is around 5 o'clock every day, I'll probably go live. So if that's something you'd like, comment below, on the side, whatever it is. Until anyone gets here, I'm just going to start ripping on different scales and different ways that this thing sounds, because it is unreal. I've never had a six string before. I've messed around and played with them from friends and stuff like that, or whenever I got a chance to. But it is, especially the bongo bass. I've never played a 4-string bongo or a 5. I'm sure they make them in 4s. But it sounds so clean. I mean, it's just as articulate as possible. There's no effects on this at all. I'm just running a positive grid Spark 40. So that it bottoms out, but that's the amp when that happens. It's like a real distorted. That's not the bass though, that's just the way it's recording. I've been thinking about getting a 6-string. Do it. I mean, I just got a 6. I've been playing forever. I'm 37. I started playing when I was 4. So old as shit. But I was on the thing of 4 strings for, that's the only way to go, right? And I went that way for a very long time. Like up until I just started this video. So it's pretty embarrassing to admit that, but go for it. It's its own instrument. The only way, again, I just got it, but from what I've heard from people I respect, and I respect everyone, but musicians I respect, their advice is that don't play it and just start fucking around up here the whole time. Because then you're not really, you might as well just start playing guitar. But if you're gonna use it for chords, it's nothing else like it. Just from last night to today, the stuff I've been coming up with. And that's just with opens, it sounds that good. If you start closing them up to... It just sounds so fucking good. The muting is a thing I'm gonna have to get used to. Like I said, I've never had a 6-string before, just messed with it. But what I've been finding is float the thumb just like normal. And I use my pinky and I kind of just creep it up. So I kind of turn my hand a certain way. Speed playing is going to take a little bit because just focusing on that, because you could just rip stuff like. But you start hearing it vibrate here. That was pretty decent actually, but the D string was going. So if you keep your if I keep my pinky here, it's hard to see. I don't know how close I am to this camera, but let's see if I'm going here. Can I hear anything? Yeah, it rings a little bit. I don't know. Now I'm just getting in my head. That's some shit I got to do when I'm alone to really get in on it. And I know headphones help a lot. But to play a 6-string that I've been, again, in one day, the muting is huge, but the tone of a bongo is insane. Like, and they make the, who's the guy from Dream Theater? I'm gonna fucking butcher his name, but Myung or something like that? Guy from Dream Theater. He has a bongo 6-string signature, and I was interested in that because I'm like, well, that guy's like a bass god, and it's embarrassing. I don't know how to say his name. But I found out the difference between this 6-string bongo and his signature is that they took a 6-string, they took the 5-string bongo neck and fit 6 strings on it. So the neck is super thin, which makes it a lot, I don't want to say easier because there's a big pro and con list on that one. That when the neck is thinner, you're going to be able to reach things more easier. Yes, John Myung. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Again, horrible on my end. I could barely pronounce my own last name, but it's 2 fucking syllables. But yeah, the thing is he has a 5-string neck. They just took the 5-string bongo and they spaced the strings closer together. I grew up playing, when I say grew up, I mean I literally grew up playing on a fat Fender P bass neck. So I like the tree trunk aspect to a bass. And don't get me wrong, I have an F bass and I have a Schecter. And I love those. The other insults to that are like pencil neck groovers or whatever people call them. But when it comes to playing the chords on a 6, I like having that platform. Because that's what it feels like, that I could just articulate. And I haven't really gotten too much into it yet. Like I said, it came here yesterday. It came a week early. And Sweetwater is awesome, by the way. I don't have any endorsements or any of that stuff, but they have like their own personal dude. My guy is Zach. He calls me up. He's like checks in on me. Like I don't even have friends that do that stuff. I know he's not my buddy, but not in a sad way. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Sweetwater is really good, in my experience at least. The box was open too, but everything was in it and fine. But yeah, the tone of this thing is ridiculous. I'm gonna do a full review of it because why not? And now that I have it out, let's talk about that since no one has any topics. If you have a topic, like ask away. But it always comes with this thing too, so it'll show like what the pickups are, and it's always way more complicated than it needs to be as it goes from darker to lighter and darker to lighter. All that means is it blends. So on my, I have a 5-string Stingray 5. On this one, there's a knob, and when you're here, you're on bridge, this pickup, and as you go further, you're only on neck. And all that diagram means is as you go in between, shows what level it's going to be. More here, less here to more here, or more blah. If it's all here, as you roll it on, the pickups go evenly, and then more here until it's fully there, and vice versa. So that's the whole thing with that. This one is a mid. Should probably hold it up so you can see it. Low mid, high mid, bass, treble. So I have it all just set to noon. Makes it a lot easier that way. And again, the amp I'm using for YouTube is it's a Positive Grid Spark 40. I normally use an Ampeg, but it's just easier. But this distorts it. Like any low frequency, it's just going to sound like shit. So whatever, I just put it on. I got to change my setup anyway. But it sounds amazing coming out of the Ampeg as well. It'll deal with all those low frequencies. And when you're in person, it actually, like, I was just telling a friend of mine, it punches your heart. I don't mean that in some emo way. Like, you actually feel it punching. It's one of those, and it's coming out of this amp, it does that. So I'm really excited to really crank this thing out. But it's very... really cool sounds to it. Again, I can't really mess with the EQ because the amp is just not going to handle it. I'm trying to think what else other than a 6-string. I don't have much. Figured I'd go live, and if anyone had anything to write. I know there's like 4 people in here. So if you have something, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to start messing around with... That's the other thing. All the different octaves you could hit with this is insane. So going down from, what is that, D? To here, we can go from... I've just been practicing major scales to work on the muting, and everyone says, oh, major scales, anyone can do it, they're easy as shit. Okay, please do it. That's what I want people to do. If you do major scales in thirds, so starting on 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then go all the way up, just getting that alone is just... If you're just going in one octave and then backwards. So if you want to get good, play your major scales. So what I've been doing just to learn the neck and getting the muting down, I got to sit on a book or something. This is insane because you can't really see it. Maybe it's too far back. That might help. Okay, a little better. So again, just... And the key there, that whole time, and again, this will be archived, so you can always go back to it. You go all the way up and down with your pinky. This is a bit out there, but there's a bass player called Michael Marning. He's just super weird. Bass player, are you familiar with him? No, but I want to be. Michael, I think it just went away. Michael Marnring or Manring? No, but I'm all about the weirdos. Anyone that has perfect technique, it's usually never perfect. Like if you were to open up a book, I don't even know the guy's technique, but I'm sounding... What is it? Manring. Okay, I gotta check it out. I haven't heard yet. Yeah, but I'll definitely check that out. Like, what I was saying is, if you were to read like one of those bass essential books, SBL Scott's Bass Lessons, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I love that channel too. That channel's cool because it's pretty much a TV show. Like the production for that is insane. It's no different than putting on like, I don't know, NBC and watching an interview with people. It's really cool. I like what they do over there. What's the string spacing on this? I think it's 19. I don't know exactly. That's something I should know. And my phone is being used. I believe it's 19. Just like normal string spacing. That's why the neck is so much longer, or wider, I should say. That's like, I don't know if you were here before, I mentioned that I'm still gonna mess his name up. The guy from Dream Theater, his signature bass is a 5-string neck with 6 strings on it. So I believe those are 16 millimeter spacing. And if I had to guess, educated guess, probably 19. Yeah, it's pretty wide. But what I love, like I said, I'm a product of the P bass. So yeah, thanks, man. I love this bass. Again, just one day, so love affair is just starting. But it's just super clean too. But yeah, it's super fat, and yeah, I haven't played it enough to really hone in onto what is. I guarantee you from right away, there's nothing glaringly bad about it. There's nothing bad about it at all, outside of a 6-string. That's just stuff I have to work on, like muting, and muting is a big one, like just because shit's gonna ring out. And I have talked, this is what's gonna bite me in the ass, I have talked so much shit about fret wraps my entire life that I can't get them. Because I always say, like, no, you need to be better at muting. And if you're gonna, even if it was like, oh, Victor Wooten does it. Well, like, Victor Wooten also owns fret wraps, so he's trying to sell them. I got used to 16.5 on the Warwick, now I could play. You can't play the P bass anymore. Yeah, exactly. It's like playing a tree trunk. You got those cables going all over it. But yeah, back to the fret wraps. I can't bring myself to do it. And I'm not saying I'm better than any like Victor Wooten or anyone like that. I just don't. I guarantee you, he doesn't need those to play what he's playing, though. I can guarantee you that. I'm just a fan of actually muting it the way you're supposed to mute it, because then you don't have that thing sticking there the whole time. Yeah, I've never used them in a studio setting or anything like that. I'm just super against them. Not me with a fret wrap on my bass. Nothing against them. If you use them, awesome. I just talk shit. So I don't even think I actually talk shit either. It's just if I have lessons with someone and I just don't use them. Like that's the way a hard rule. Like the same thing, I do the same stuff where people are like, oh, use your ring finger and your pinky if your pinky's not strong enough, and one day it will be. Fuck that. Use your pinky. Just so what? It might just sound bad for a while and it'll hurt for a little bit. But you can't just, there's a time for training wheels and there's a time for enabling. And I'm all for training wheels, but once you're using crutches and stuff like that, not the way I was taught how to do it, so I can't just teach foundational, fundamental stuff the same way, or at least advise that way. But if it works for you, who the fuck am I to say not to do it? Whatever. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Once I start getting into more tapping and stuff, which I've never really done, but I really am interested in starting to mess with like Stu Ham stuff, like with, because I love classical. That's a big part of how I play. So if I'm doing fur release, like, to move it up octaves and then to play it here. Can I play an open string with a fret? Yeah, you can. Fret wraps, what they do is it would be like, so if I were to take my index finger, which is way thicker and more than a fret wrap, and just kind of put it right here on the other side of the nut. Do you have a muting video? I do have a muting video. You just got to go search for it. It's from a while ago. I started this already in October, this channel, so there's shit all over the place. But if you go, I know on a laptop or a computer, you go to the homepage, just you can go search and there'll be muting. I'll make another one though for this. But the main thing about muting, I float my thumb. And I'll also use this hand sometimes with my thumb too. It depends on what I'm doing. And by float my thumb, I mean, I don't just keep it here on the pickup playing. And this is also on a 4-string, doesn't just have to be a 6. So if I'm going like, or if I'm gonna float it, it would be, again, 4-string, so it would be, it's hard to do when it's a 6, I'm still learning. So floating, we just keep moving it up. So again, watch this hand on this one. So that way, if you could see it, my thumb's here on the E, down on the B. Pinky is now here on the D and the G, and then it goes up to the bottom two I don't have to worry about, because as I play, I'm muting it every time I hit. So I hit the G naturally when I'm playing the C. So really, I don't know if you could see that, but it's thumb is holding here, resting on the B. D string is getting my pinky here, it's resting on the G, and pinky here. So really, it's the same idea. Thumb down on G with the thick of it, the flat part here, and pinky on G with the flat part of it resting back. It's not up like that, it's down. And then I could play, and then I just keep going down it that way. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a video on it somewhere, but salute, I like that. But that's the main way of doing it. And the other way to really practice muting is you can't just be playing one note at a time. I mean, you can, but if you really want to see it, like, I got to remember how to play it, but there's that Kill Bill theme. Let me see, I got to remember. Wait. Oops. Wow. All right, so. That idea. There's a video for that too if you go again and search for it. Not that long ago. So. Oops. See? Wow, I'm screwing this up. But the point is, I'm playing here, muting everything, and this string is getting muted by this hand, which is holding on to it. So. Wow. I remember it. So we try that one more time. So. So if you learn how to do that stuff, it'll force you to mute the other strings. Because if I didn't have my thumb here and I'm just playing, you hear all of that going? That all has to get muted. Maybe live you could pull it off. Even then it's going to sound shitty. Anyone that plays music will pick it up. And then once you actually record that, whether it's a live recording or something on YouTube or something, or especially in a studio setting, everyone's going to hear it. And you could be the best bass player in the world, but if you're not muting right, everyone's going to be like, that guy sucks, or girl, whatever. Muting is one of those things that it's expected, and if you don't mute properly, everyone's going to know. That's the hard part about being a bass player, is no one notices a lot of people don't even notice bass at all, to be honest with you, until there's a fuck up. It's the only instrument that I've ever seen, and it shows how important a bass is too. It's the only instrument that is so vital to the song that people don't even realize it, because it just feels like it fits there. And you'll see guitar players, they get the luxury of screwing up all the time. Singers, they can flub a note and swing it into something. When you make a blatant mistake, when you make a mistake on a bass, it's under a microscope every single time. And muting is a big part of that. So practicing muting is not just, start with scales too. But for me, if I'm just playing scales, I'm not going to learn much other than the routine. I have to actually play music. Yes, scales are music, blah, blah, blah. I know I'm like arguing with myself because I could read the fucking comments as I'm saying stuff. But I have to be playing something that's musical. So again, if I'm doing a scale, like the Byzantine one, it's one of my favorite ones. That still sounds cool, but I learned the NIB solo from nice. The old. Since you're back on, wow, I could stutter a lot. Since you just mentioned the NIB solo and you learned how to play it, now we could up the level of that, because you're never done practicing stuff, right? So now that you know the NIB solo, start playing it in. Actors do this all the time. Like I heard Jim Carrey say he was going for like Squirrel and a Peacock for Ace Ventura. So when you're going to play NIB, try it in like, if you're playing it at a jazz club, just the feel of it. Not even whether you like jazz or not, but Sabbath are they're very blues and jazz based, especially Geezer Butler. So it would be like. Just feel what you're whatever you internalize it as, start playing it that way. I've done the same thing with really heavy shit like Slayer, so I think that's a riff, right? That's it. So if you wanted to jazz that shit up or lounge it up or whatever you want to call it, like. Now I have the 6-string problem of muting, but if you like, you can make bossa novas about it or make a salsa like. There's a guy on Instagram that does that really well, super famous. I think he's called Junior Groovinator, I think. Just like a big kind of pudgy dude who just shakes his ass the whole time. It's fucking really cool to watch. People usually laugh at it, but what he's playing is really cool. So whenever you learn a solo especially, because there's not that many bass solos out there to be honest with you, but when you learn anything like that, make it your own, and don't just make it your own. Make it your own in the style of. So you could really push your boundaries, and that's how you get your own style as well. If you play it the way you would normally play it, your own kind of thing, it's kind of like, just like anything I do with music, there's freedom through restraint. Do whatever the fuck you want, but play it in a salsa kind of club vibe. Just have that idea in your head. So you could take Slayer like I just did, and you just punk it out too, like whatever you want to do. I don't know, I'm just freestyling at that point, but that's another good idea. And I just went on that rant from the NIB solo. I forgot what we were talking about before that. Yeah, I don't know if I have too much more. 20 minutes, whatever. Any questions, let me know. I know I said I was going to do like a bass podcast thing. The problem is I have a fucking horrible time sticking to a schedule. Not because of laziness, just life. So what I can promise to do is this stuff, if not daily, whenever. It's hard to figure out when people are going to watch this stuff. Like there's 3 people on now. I don't know, 3 likes. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, by the way, that helps me a ton. If you like a video, more people get to see it. I always knew that was like a thing, but I didn't see it until recently. So I hate being that guy like, subscribe, whatever. But I don't know, fucking, if you can, great. If not, cool. If you get anything out of the video, awesome. But yeah, so I don't have too much. Like I said, if anyone has an idea of what times to watch, actually, Jesus, I am so bad at talking to this thing. What I'm gonna do, I'm answering my own questions as I come up with it. What I'm gonna start doing is I'll go live more often. Going live at night for me is super easy, but I don't think anybody's awake because I'm in Phoenix time. So anyone on the East Coast is probably in bed, but I might as well start doing it because I'll see if anyone shows up or not. Plus they live forever anyway on there. So yeah.